So welcome to the channel. Welcome to Knicks City, the show that never sleeps. I'm your host, Jonathan Carney, with my co-host here, Jordan Bailey. So Jordan, introduce yourself.
How you doing, guys? This is Jordan Bailey. Hey, it's just great to start this podcast, this video, this chat. Like just starting this channel is great. I follow Knicks Fan TV and also Knicks Film School. A lot. I listen to a lot of the podcasts whenever I'm driving or just whatever. So I'm very into this, and I'm a diehard Knicks fan. So I'm ready to talk some Knicks.
All right, so we're gonna talk the Knicks. Obviously, this is Knicks City. My name's Jonathan. Same thing with Jordan. We huge Knicks fan. We've been diehard Knicks fans for the longest time. I met him, so that's our friendship is based on the Knicks. So let's get to it. So basically, today we're gonna do a preview of the Miami and New York Knicks Eastern Conference Semifinals. So basically, what we're going to do is we're going to break down the other series here that happened with the New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we're also going to kind of talk about the Miami and Milwaukee series. This is the Knicks show, so we're going to prominently talk about the Knicks. We bleed blue and orange. So first, I kind of want to just start off with the series that the Knicks previously had. So they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers and beat them 4 games to 1. And basically, I just wanted to talk about a couple of highlights that I had myself. So for me personally, R.J. Barrett, he had a really good couple of games down the stretch. He started in Game 3, and ever since Game 3, he's really been playing at a top tier level. And myself and Jordan were talking about him previously. When the series started, he had a rocky end of his year, and then he came out, had a rocky first 2 games, but he really found his footing in the last 3 games. So I'm looking for RJ to not only come into this Miami game to be really good, but I also was really excited that he could find his footing in these last 3 games. So first, we'll just dive right into Broadway Barrett. Jordan, what's your thoughts on Broadway Star J Barrett, man?
Broadway Barrett, man. What else can I say about him, man? I don't know. It's very tough with him. He can be it's like a roller coaster. It's like you're on a roller coaster at times. You're going up, and then that dive down is so
Right.
bad. It's like, oh my God, at times. But um, I can't really speak too much bad about him at this point. With these last 3 games, that's just showing me like if we can do this against the Heat, that'll take us to the next level,
Right.
especially if we got Randall.
Yeah,
But
true about that. But
I really think that he was making the right passes. Like I never saw RJ play this good. I might just have to say that these last 3 games might have been the best 3 games of his career.
oh yeah,
These
I
last
would
three
agree
games.
for sure there. Um, but in this Cleveland game, we're here to do the preview for Miami, but we just want to talk quickly about Cleveland. For me personally, this Cleveland series, I thought it was going to be a really hard fought series, but it actually turned out that the Knicks actually kind of had their way with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And again, we already talked about RJ. He had 3 magnificent games, and they were definitely helped by other players like Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson. But for me personally, I think this Cleveland Cavaliers series definitely proved that the Knicks are a pretty hard fought team. They can get down to business, and
For sure.
they can take care of teams even though they have superstars like Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. But myself personally, on the Cleveland side, I thought Donovan Mitchell was really good game 1, but he was kind of absent for the other games. And when you're Donovan Mitchell and you get paid the amount of money that you get paid in the stardom that has gone towards Donovan Mitchell. I mean, he scored a lot of points, but at the end of the day, you got to do a lot better than what he did. But I just thought the Knicks figured him out and prevented him from doing damage to the series, and they were able to take the series pretty swiftly. And on top of that, I also thought Jalen Brunson, you can't guard Jalen Brunson. To be honest, right now this series, Jalen Brunson took it to the Cavs, and for me personally, I'm excited to see what he can do in Miami. But I just thought he was magnificent in every single game, excluding I guess game two, but the Knicks were just bombarded with Darius Garland's 3-point shot. But other than
Yeah.
that, Jalen Brunson was phenomenal in the Cleveland series. What are your thoughts on Jalen Brunson in the Cleveland series, Jordan?
Oh man, Jalen Brunson has been always, that's our rock. You know what I'm saying? As far as consistency, Jalen Brunson is that guy. And he's held down the ship this whole year. I can't say nothing else about him. But I just think going into the Miami series, I know like it's no worries. I know he's gonna be that guy who's gonna give us that 20 points, or he's gonna make that play that we need at the end of the game. Whatever we need, he's gonna give it to us. So
Right.
um, I just I'm glad that we got him, and just like we were saying, I was just watching Stephen A. earlier. He was saying he thanked Jalen Brunson the best player on our team, and I might have to agree. Because Jalen Brunson really he's talented. He's really talented, and
Yeah,
he
he a good ball player for sure. And obviously,
yeah.
going into the year, I was a little on the fence with Jalen Brunson. But hey, if you're gonna get a point guard, the Knicks need a point guard, and he definitely is showing his worth throughout not only the regular season but definitely in that playoff series. And hopefully he can do the trick. And obviously. We'll give our thoughts and opinions on these players when we dive deep into the preview. But again, I just want to just recast what happened with this
For
Cleveland
sure,
series,
for sure.
and so the last two people I'll talk about, I'll talk about three people slightly. I'll talk about Josh Hart. I mean, for me personally, Josh Hart has probably been one of the better New York Knicks players I've
Yes,
ever
sir.
seen. He's probably with that trade that they did before the deadline in the regular season. This guy's probably this was probably the best trade I've ever seen the Knicks do outside of the Melo trade, and
Yes, sir.
that's pretty like intense to say. But I mean, this guy is an instant impact, and he is probably. I mean, RJ was playing great in the last three games, but this guy's been consistent in every single game so far in the series that they played with Cleveland. So I'm looking for him to be really, really good in this Miami game. But again, in game one, he hit that great shot towards the stretch. I mean, if he didn't make that shot, the Knicks aren't winning game one. And he just showed out for a
Indeed,
great game
indeed.
three and four. And I mean, Josh Hart. I mean, he is that guy. So, what's your thoughts on Josh Hart?
Yeah, as far as what that this is another one right here. He is what Draymond Green is to the Warriors. Josh Hart is that for us. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That as far as that guy that just he's gonna make it happen when we need it. You know what I'm saying? And I think that I don't know. I just think that in that last series, in this previous series, he was really knocking Donovan Mitchell up. Donovan Mitchell couldn't do much.
Yeah,
Donovan
he was
Mitchell,
definitely he guarding Donovan Mitchell is a really tough task, but like I said before when I was talking about Mitchell, I mean when you're Donovan Mitchell, you got to really prominently show that you're the scorer machine that you are, and he did have a decent amount of points in
oh
regards if
yeah,
you look at the series. But if you
yeah,
really look deep down and you're watching the game and analyzing the game, this guy really didn't have extreme
he did
performances outside of game one. I mean, game one he had what
exactly
38, and then that was about it. After that, he was silent as no other. And
right.
obviously, in game two,
Yeah,
he got help with Garland because he couldn't stop making threes, and Garland had like 33, and the Knicks couldn't compete with that. But I mean, he held him in New York, and he held him in Game Five. And I mean, Josh Hart, he's been an absolutely phenomenal pickup. And so, before we really dive deep into the Miami the preview, two more players I'd like to talk about. So the big question of the hour is Julius Randle. So Julius Randle, me and Jordan have been up and down with this player. Um, he wears blue and orange, so we love him. If you're out of the Knicks, we love you. We want the best for you. But
Indeed,
we've had some very very tough times with Julius Randle.
for
But
sure we have.
but this season he's been playing pretty good, and I can't deny the fact that he hasn't been out there for the New York Knicks. He's been playing in the games where he needs to play. And during this series, I thought he was kind of rocky for the first couple of games. Jalen Brunson really kind of, held the team together and carried them to victory. To where Julius Randle, we want him to also be really successful. And he had his couple of his games were fine, but they weren't spectacular. I thought in Game 5 he was on track to actually have a breakout game, and
Yes.
then he tweaked his left ankle like he did in the Heat game, um, in the regular season, so that caused him to be taken out. And in Game 4, he was also benched towards the ending of the game because Tibbs just felt that Obi was a better option, and I agreed that was a good option from Tibbs, putting Obi Toppin out there instead of Julius Randle, because Obi was feeling the game and he didn't really want to put a cold Julius Randle out there. But overall, I think here's the big kicker: Julius Randle. He did good in the Cam series, but I think he needs to step it up. And with this injury, we really can't afford him being injured with this Heat team. But I think I'm not too worried about Julius Randle in regards to his performance in Cleveland. But I think he'll be all right for the Heat. So what are your thoughts there on Julius Randle, Jordan?
To be honest, I'm really not worried about Randall. As far as as long only thing I'm worried about is his health at this point. But as far
Right,
as his approach to the game, as far as at times I know it can be a little over the top. A lot of times it can be, but as I know it, like as far as his mentality and the way he approaches the game and the way he plays hard. He really cares. So I think that he's gonna be good for the Heat series. But as far as the Cavs series, it was rough. As far as in the first game, without that great game, I mean, without that great half that he had in game one, it's no telling where we would be right now.
right,
So I think uh, that's another factor. And then, he had a rough time throughout the series, but I think it just takes time, for him, and just like it took time for RJ, and they're gonna find it.
right.
Yeah, so I think you know, as long as they see Jalen Brunson doing what he's doing, and they know, even sometimes Jalen Brunson might have a good game. I mean, bad game, and
Right.
we have somebody. So
Yeah,
that's
if
the
Brunson's got a bad game, then RJ and Julius really got to step up. But
RJ and Julie.
to be
Yeah,
fair, Jalen Brunson probably not going to have a
but it's
bad
oftentimes,
game.
but we've seen that oftentimes where like Jalen Brunson have bad games,
And
and
then Julius Randle has a monster game. Yeah, so I mean,
yeah, and RJ might have a
right.
pretty decent game too.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
RJ and Jalen for the last 3 games are really the catalyst for the Knicks down the stretch. I mean, RJ averaged more than 20 points in the last 3 games, and Brunson almost averaged more than 20 points. So,
and I
um,
have to say, I have my fault. I have to say that I think that's a advantage of ours that is more of an advantage for us, especially now that the Heat have they don't have Tyler Hero.
right,
That's 23 points a game off the
right,
they
yeah,
missing. So
yeah,
like with that being said, like I can't really remember a time where all three of our great players, all three RJ, where RJ, Brunson, and Randall was shooting bad in the game. You know what I'm
right.
saying? So we gonna have at least one of them
Yeah, I
picking us
mean,
up.
when you have, and I'm also looking at it right now. I think this is what game 4. Yeah, game 4. Josh Hart only scored 4 points, and he
And then I
pitched.
forgot to say Josh Hart. Josh Hart been hooping, so
Yeah,
he been getting 19, 17. He been hooping. So
right. But
yeah,
I
bro.
mean
Like,
and he played 46 minutes, only had 4 points. I didn't know that stat, but it's still and he got
hey,
12 rebounds. So there you go. I'll take
all his
those
minutes
12
is
rebounds.
meaningful. It don't matter if he scored or not. That's
Right.
the greatest. That's the greatest thing about Josh Hart.
Right. Yeah. So last but not least, I'm going to talk about Mitchell Robinson, which for me personally, Mitchell Robinson, the last game, Game 5, that was the best game of his career. He got 18 rebounds. I think what was it? 11 were offensive rebounds, and he just put back every single shot. Like every time RJ missed or Jalen Brunson missed, Mitchell Robinson was there to get the rebound and put it back, and he got 13 really hard-earned points, and those 13 points really made the Knicks soar and clear the Cleveland Cavaliers. So for me personally, I think this is going to be a huge impact for this Miami series. Mitchell Robinson, he is an absolute monster when it comes down to not only rebounding, but he's also a monster just putting the ball back. And I've liked Mitchell Robinson, and when we have him, there's a huge difference. When the Knicks don't have Mitchell Robinson,
Yes,
they,
sir.
they, they really suffer in regards to getting rebounds on both ends of the court. And obviously, in Game 5, if anyone watched that game, it's clear that Mitchell Robinson was there getting every rebound over
Yeah,
every single Cleveland Cavalier. And so I think that not only Game 5 was the best game of Mitchell Robinson's career, but he's been playing spectacular throughout the season, and he's been playing pretty well in the series in Cleveland, and I'm excited to see what he can do for the Heat. So, what's your thoughts on Mitchell
for
Robinson?
sure, for sure. Yeah, nah, I think Mitch, he's definitely gonna, you know, he's gonna do what he do. He gonna get those boards. And he gonna play tough. He gonna give people a hard time. He gonna give Jimmy a hard time, and just like he was giving Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland and everybody else a hard time in Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's gonna be good. Offensive, best offensive rebounding big in the league, right? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Best offensive rebounding big at this point in time. He showed that last series against Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't even think he was going to dominate like that. Like I wasn't expecting that. You know what I'm saying? So that just go to show, like, it's really hurt. Just take heart and soul, like, and that you could just see that he just had more of that than both of them.
Right. All right. So that's basically all the players I wanted to get to before we really dive
Let's
into the.
talk about let's
Go
talk
go go
about
go.
Jimmy though. We got to talk about
Oh yeah,
Jimmy
no,
and
no,
what he
no.
just.
We're gonna dive into the preview now, and so we'll talk about the Heat right now. So
Yeah.
so basically the Miami Heat stunned the Milwaukee Bucks. They went into Milwaukee and beat Milwaukee 4 games to 1. And Jimmy Butler put on an absolute show in all games he played. I mean, I think there was only a couple of games to where he got like what 22 or something. But
Yeah.
game 4 he had 56, and then game 5 he had 42. But in game 5 he shot 33 times, so that's a lot of shots. But for me personally, looking at this Heat game now, for me, I watched all the Knicks games. Obviously, we're huge Knicks fans. We watch every single game from start to finish. But I didn't watch any. I didn't watch all the Heat games from start to finish. I caught the ending of Game 5, and then I watched the highlights to Game 4. But for me, what I see from the Heat are a great team. Overall, I think a couple of Knicks fans, like people on Knicks fan TV and just Knicks fans in general, they're kind of putting the Heat not necessarily in the gutter, but they're not really like respecting what the Heat have to offer. They have a really good basketball team. They're coached by a great coach with Eric. What was his name? Spolstra. I can't.
Eric Foster,
Yeah,
yeah.
Eric Spolstra. And this is a team that has Jimmy Butler, and he finds ways to win. When he needs to score, he scores. And like was talking about with Donovan Mitchell when we were talking about the kind of recapping the Knicks and Cavs series, Donovan Mitchell needed to do what Jimmy Butler did in the Bucks series. Jimmy Butler's going out every game, scoring when he needs to score, shooting when he needs to shoot, and performing the way he needs to perform to upset the Milwaukee Bucks that who's considered to be the best player with Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I think Jimmy Butler did an absolutely phenomenal job in the series against the Bucks, and I think he's a force. He's a really tough player to go against. But I think overall it was a great effort by the Heat. I mean, if they need to win ball games, they're winning ball games, and they're moving on to the next round. One thing I also wanted to add before I let you get in on it, Jordan, is that this Miami team is no joke. I mean, when the Knicks played Miami in the regular season, I was like, this is going to be a tough game to play. And the Knicks had two really tough games against Miami and one down in the stretch, and then the Knicks blew them out, and then they got blown out by the Heat, and two other occasions as well. But this Miami Heat team last year went to the Eastern Conference Finals and missed the NBA Finals by one missed wide open Jimmy Butler shot. Now Jimmy Butler should have totally made that shot, but every shot it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go in. But I mean, people are kind of sleeping on this Heat, and for me as a Knicks fan, I'm going in this series with really high hopes, but I'm also keeping them in check. So I think this is going to be a really tough series for the Knicks, but I'm hoping that they can figure it out. So let me get your opinions on Jimmy Butler and the Heat, Jordan.
Jimmy Butler. Man, they might as well take the J and put it and make it an H because that boy is him. He is him. Because man, I don't know. I think that Jimmy Butler is definitely going to be a lot to deal with in this series. As far as what he did to Giannis in the Milwaukee Bucks, I never in a million years expected that, man. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't. Especially 4-1, like they only won one game, bro. Like, but Giannis was hurt, and that was a factor. But he did come back for the last two games, and they lost. So that just give me reason to believe that it's not going to be a cakewalk. We gotta lock in here, and it's not like they got, like I said, Tyler Hero, he's out, so we just gotta worry. We really gotta worry and key in on Jimmy. So I think that's the main thing that we really got to do. That should be the game plan. Make everybody else beat us at this point because I don't foresee any other role player. Ben might have a good game here, but I don't know. I think as far as especially if we fully healthy, like Randall at least back at 85 to 90%. RJ doing what he been doing, and Jalen being Jalen. Shoot, I think we're gonna be good. Shoot, and then we got Josh Hart. Josh Hart might chip. Josh Hart gonna chip in too. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the series, and for the first time in, man, I've been a Knicks fan for 10 plus years, man. I was just talking to my girlfriend the other day about that. I'm like, I've been a Knicks fan for 10 plus years, and we made it to the second round, and this is only my second time seeing that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? So in 10 years, 10 plus years, you know what I'm saying? So that, like, it's just a great feeling, and I'm just so excited to see what we can do because I really this don't feel like, I don't know about you, bro. This don't feel like 2013 with Melo and them. This feel like, but to be honest, I don't know. I felt the same way with Melo and them back in the day, but I don't want to go off on a tangent. But I
Yeah,
felt this.
I'll talk about that Melo team. I mean, really, with that Melo team, they were looking good. I mean, they were up 3-0 against the Celtics, and then Jr. did that one thing in Game 4, and he got suspended. And after that, the Knicks could not find their footing at all.
Exactly.
They were able to beat the Celtics in Game 6, and where they let them win 2 games. Game 4, I can understand that, but when you go back to the Garden in Game 5 and you let the Celtics beat you there, and then you had to win it on the road. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone was talking about the Knicks possibly losing that series after being up 3-0. But I mean, when you have Melo, he's going to score a ton of points. It's kind of like Jimmy Butler we were talking about earlier. But I think the problem with that team is they not only lost their energy, but they lost their rhythm. Once Jr. did that, he couldn't make a shot to save his life. And so, like we
Right.
were talking about, this is a different situation with the Knicks. The Knicks aren't in that situation at all. No one has done anything idiotic to where they can put themselves out of their rhythm. We only see players that have been performing at extremely high levels. So, like,
Indeed.
when you
Indeed.
when you look at RJ, I mean, he had a couple of 2 rocky games, but he's got brilliant 3 games ending that Cleveland series, and Jalen Brunson is playing absolutely fantastic. And Mitchell
Indeed.
Robinson's coming off the best game of his career. So, I mean, the Knicks are going into this series looking pretty good. But yeah, no, as Knicks fans, we've been really wanting stuff like this, and having a team like this that can perform, and specifically having a player like Jalen Brunson is something that we've never seen, and we are not taking this for granted. But
Indeed.
but
You're
for
right about
me,
that, boy.
but for me, the job's not done. I really do think this
Oh,
team
yeah.
is absolutely phenomenal, and what they need to do is just take it one game at a time. But I did want to talk about the Heat for a couple of seconds. I mean, you were talking about how Miami kind of just ran away with it against Milwaukee. I mean, if you look at a couple of these games, they're really close games. I mean, they won game 4, 119-114, which went down the stretch, and Jimmy Butler made every single shot. And the last game, game 5, went into overtime, and the Heat only won by 2 points. So I mean, they're not running away with it. They won a couple of these games by the skin of their teeth, and specifically when you look at it.
I mean, this is the number 1 seed in the East.
Yeah, but I mean, you also had to look at, if you look at Game 5. Let's see, Giannis had he had what, like 11 foul shots. Like, he had 22 foul shots and missed like every foul shot. I know he's not known for being a great foul shot shooter, but when you come down at the stretch, you got to make those shots. So he was 10 for 23 at the foul line. Now, obviously, Miami was wanting him to get on the line, but that's abysmal if you're considered the best player in the league. So, personally, I just wanted to get that out the chest. But again, like I talked about earlier, Miami's not a team to mess with. I thought going into the series between Milwaukee and Miami that if I was Milwaukee, I don't want to play Miami. That's like one of the last teams that I would want to play. If I was Milwaukee, I would want to play like the Nets. If I was Milwaukee, I'd probably rather play the Hawks. Wouldn't want to play the Heat. So, like, for example, I thought the Heat, if the Heat were to get, 6th seed or whatever it was that the Nets were, and they played the Sixers, they still would have given them a run for their money. The Nets had no right. I'm not going to really dunk on the Nets as hard, but
right.
the Nets had no right to play with the 76ers. I mean, to be fair, they gutted their 2 franchise all-star players with Kevin Durant and Kyrie, but this Heat team is absolutely, it's pretty good. But let's basically just talk about the series and what we think, what to expect with this series, and then really kind of give our initial estimated guesses or predictions to the series. So for me, I'll just talk about it overall. And Jimmy Butler is a huge portion to this show here, because he's obviously, he killed the Bucks. He's looking to do the same against the Knicks. He's looking to score. He's got 37.6 points per game. He's looking to do the exact same thing against the Knicks. But this time, like when we were talking about who's guarding him, the Bucks game, I don't really remember who was guarding him. I mean, at a point in time to where he's making every single shot, I would have just put Giannis on him. Like, I would have just like, screw it, just put Giannis on this dude, because he made every shot. But like we talked about before, I'm going to assume that Josh Hart or Quentin Grimes. Now, we do have an injured Quentin Grimes, but one of the two is going to guard Jimmy Butler. And if they can guard Jimmy Butler the way that they guard Donovan Mitchell, I think that they'll be fine. But I think that matchup's going to be interesting. He's still going to score a lot of points because he's going to shoot a lot. Once he shoots a lot, he's going to get these open looks, and he's going to make pretty crazy shots throughout this series. I mean, at the end of the Bucks series, he had that he caught the ball in midair, faded away, and tied the game. I couldn't believe he made that shot. It was a crazy shot. But overall, I just think that Jimmy Butler, people, I think he's the key to focus. But after that, I mean, Kyle Lowry, I've never been a fan of Kyle Lowry. I don't really want to throw him under the bus too much, but actually, I've kind of hated Kyle Lowry for his entire career. I didn't like him in Toronto. I didn't like him on any other team he played, but he only played for Toronto and Miami, I believe. I might have played for some other team, but yeah, I've never.
He played for the Rocks. He played for the Rockets.
Oh, he played for the Rockets? Okay, yeah. So yeah, I've never been a really huge fan of Kyle Lowry, and I think Jalen Brunson will have his way with Kyle Lowry. But after that, like you said before, Tyler Hero's not going to be in this series. So.
Oh yeah, well we can talk about matchups. I mean, I know they're gonna put Jimmy on Brunson if they're smart because So that's already going to be the matchup. And then from what I think they're going to put Gabe Vincent on RJ.
Okay.
Okay, and then Bam's gonna guard Julius,
Mm-hmm.
and Kevin Love's gonna guard Mitch.
Oh boy.
Kevin Love's gonna guard Mitch. And I think, and then who's last? Josh Hart. But from what I just
He'd probably be Lowry. Well, he'd probably go in Butler. He's probably Here's the thing. If you switch it, so Jimmy probably gonna be on Jalen when Jalen's on offense, but Jalen absolutely not is not guarding
oh
Jimmy
no,
Butler.
of
Hell
course not.
no,
Yeah,
no way.
yeah. Either Grimes or Hart gonna be on Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see how. I would have to say that, like I was saying, game 6. I think we're gonna take it. It's gonna be Knicks in 6, and it's gonna be a hard fought battle. But I don't think Jimmy can do it all by himself again. I don't think he's gonna score 38 points a game again in this series against us. And I think it's gonna be a tough one.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. I would say Knicks in 6. It's again going to be a tough series in regards to guarding Jimmy Butler and in general tending to this Cleveland Cavaliers team. Not the Cleveland Cavaliers. What am I talking about? The Miami Heat. We're going nuts.
Yeah.
But no, Miami. So the Miami team is a really good team. Jimmy Butler is going to be a very tough opponent to to go up against. But I think either Josh Hart's probably guarding him, or who else? Or Quentin Grimes is guarding him too. I think they'll have a decent job with
Yeah. Oh
Pennington.
no, I'm about to say Quentin Grimes back. So
Yeah,
let's see
so
what.
I think they'll do a reasonable job with guarding him. I mean, he's Jimmy Butler. He's still going to score tons of points, but I think as long as the Knicks can match his offense, then they're going to be fine. But what the Knicks really need to do is they need to make sure that they can take care of business in the Garden. So game one is Sunday, so they got to make sure they can win it and not put themselves in a hole right away. But we're all also. Do you think they're going to go all the championship there, Jordan? Do you think the Knicks are capable of going all the way to the NBA Finals and winning?
Man, I really do think the Knicks are there. I think they have like you said, I think they are capable of it. But like you said, I definitely have to keep my emotions in check. I got to think with my mind and not my heart. You know what I'm saying? So, um, so yeah, so I think they are capable of it, but I want to see what happens with this Heat series.
Right. Yeah.
And
So
then,
I think they're also capable of it too. But what they really need to do is they just need to focus on each game at a time. So what they really need to focus on
okay,
is this Heat series, and they also had to just focus on game one, which is on Sunday. And they've been doing that when they played in the series against Cleveland. They took each game one at a time, and they were able to beat them 4-1. And so if they do that with this Miami series, I think they'll be able to prevail. But again, the NBA, anything can happen. All these teams are really good. And if they were to move on, they also had to play either Philadelphia or Boston. And those two teams are really, really tough. And who knows if they are able to go through in that series, who knows who's going to get out of the Western Conference. So I think right now we should just keep our expectations to this one series against Miami and see what happens. But I do think that this Knicks team is pretty darn good, and they are capable of doing a lot. So other than that, that pretty much will do it for the show. This is our first show, so if you watched it, I do really appreciate it. And if you like the Knicks or you like basketball, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you can see more. Our goal is to have one video or one show every week, so hopefully we can do that. And so other than that, that'll be it for me. I'll let Jordan go ahead and give his final words.
yeah, well, like I said, I think it's going to be a great series. I think Jimmy Butler has just been tremendous in this playoffs, and he's going to give us a run. But like we were saying, I think we're going to take it home.
All
And I
right.
think we're going to take it to Boston or Philly, whichever one. It don't matter. And I think that this has been a great show. I enjoy doing this with you, man, and I'm glad that this is the start of a journey of
Oh yeah.
greatness. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking forward to this, and continuing to do this. So, I hope y'all have a good one, and
We'll see
yeah.
you next time.